Welcome to our live event, Best Practice, How Global Players Train Their Workforce. Until we go into the slides, I will give a short introduction also to Eclipseina and wait for the ones who will join a little later. Eclipseina is a company located in Germany, in Bavaria, Regensburg, and we are working on charging topics, charging solutions, and e-learning for embedded engineers, electronics, electrical engineering, and so on. Let's have a short look at the agenda. So we'll have a short welcome and introduction. Then we look into how do global players work. In the next step, we'll discuss the topic of e-learning because there's often quite a lot of misunderstanding there. Then we deep dive into job-related learning journeys. And then we share some highlights of transformation processes which Eclipseina has been supporting. And in the next step, of course, you get some information from sales, what is Embedded Academy offering, and how will we continue? What will be the next steps? What new e-learnings we will provide? And questions and answers, of course, are also possible. My name is Annette Kempf. I'm the CEO and founder of Eclipseina, and I will share some of my core know-how with you today. And what's the topic? Best practice, how global players train their workforce. So we look into the topic, how do global players work? Currently, and our scope is engineering and electronical engineering, embedded, and so on. We just had a message in another window. And this means we are exactly targeting areas where there is a lot of transformation going on right now. Companies are continuously changing, the technology is changing continuously, and this means new strategies are necessary, technical roadmaps are changing, and it's really important that the technical roadmaps drive the training and personnel development of the engineering staff. So this is our scope, to look at the engineering staff. Global players usually set up this technical roadmap for, in line with the technical roadmap, their personnel development, to say, okay, for example, we are switching now from combustion engine to electrified powertrain, or others have been changing from purely mechanical, they called it mechatronics, to have a small electric motor, a microcontroller, and so on. And you cannot just say, okay, we did schematics for many years, and now you do some programming. So this is the planning part. And to implement this planning, there's a variety of measures done. So presence and in-house trainings have been around very long, and they still have their important share, especially if you are programming or if you are have to do something manual, where online is not giving you the feeling or the know-how for what you need to learn. But of course, online trainings have a big share, a growing share, and there you have sometimes just basic videos, or you have e-learning. And the fourth part is that, of course, the global players have some deep technical know-how which is confidential, and where they need to do their own training material, this cannot be bought on the market. And with this range of activities, they are training their people. Then we look at e-learning. What is best in class e-learning? Very important for me, video is not an e-learning. So with Corona, many have been using some PowerPoints and did a recording. But if you do a recording video, it's a recording video and it's not an e-learning. Yeah? And what does e-learning mean? Yeah? For e-learning, you have you have also the possibility to address the different senses according to Vesta. Yeah, for the learning, like cognitive learning, where you more use the brain, and this is done for the technical content and is triggered by the quizzes at the end. So e-learning is addressing with these two aspects: the cognitive learning. Then you have visual learning, and there some people like to read the text. So spoken word is not enough. You have written text, and you have a possibility with animations to show what you're talking about, and to have the chance also to have show things which are moving, like an electrical machine, the rotating field. This is far better in an animation than just with pictures. Then, of course, you have an auditory part, speaker text. This is clear, so you get the things explained, but there's also the option to integrate special sounds to make some of the things more clear. For example, for the NVH training, the special sounds were an interesting thing. Yeah. And the fourth of e-learning is haptic. Haptic learning is difficult at the computer, but nevertheless, there's at least a little bit where you have to move a mouse to do some drag and drop exercises, and also to click when you get some explanation to have an interaction. And by combining these different possibilities and addressing all the different learning types, you can learn more efficient. And this is why e-learning is completely different to videos and has a far higher impact in terms of learning than just a recording. Yeah, also the structuring topic. If you have a huge organization and you need to structure know-how and to plan who will learn what, then it's good to introduce hierarchies. And the hierarchies, this 2 to 7, is coming from software architecture. So you shouldn't have more than 7 in one layer. This is just an example. Many global players have also different structures, but they certainly have a hierarchical structure. And here we're looking at chapters at e-learning, like the learning units. They are combined to courses, and the courses you can find in different categories. So you have an navigation to find the learning which is fitting to your need. Yeah, you need also to do this for the personnel planning. According to ISO 9001, you have to do the competency planning, and this helps this kind of content structure. Then we look at the job-related learning journeys, just at the e-learning level, but to have a little introduction on this topic. For example, if you enter a new organization, you start a new job, then learning is not just the technical things, it's names of the people, organizational structure, and, yeah. So you have many things you have to learn on different levels, and all this has to be addressed. In the following slides, I will only address the e-learning part, which is flexible and can be easily integrated into the planning for new employees. But of course, you need your mentor who is showing you where you get food and how to enter, where your desk is, introduced to the colleagues and so on. This is also learning and the tools which are in the company. But if you look at what can you plan easily and give someone a tool in our embedded domain, this I want to show. So this example is if you need to learn for e-mobility infrastructure. So meaning it's a charging station provider, for example, and what know-how is needed for this. And of course, it's a very good idea to have a general introduction into e-mobility and maybe to look at EV charging for the first time to have an overview. And then you have also the know-how you need to do the software. Like the charging station has embedded hardware, is switching, maybe also power relays and so on. So you need electronic and electrical fundamentals. You need the embedded software know-how. Operating system know-how in software is always very good to understand how it's working. And then there's some special functionalities because the communication between EV and EVSE is encrypted. So cryptography makes also sense for software developers in this area. So you have a full portfolio and you plan according to who needs what. Yeah? The next is if you don't have any specific, you're just working in embedded software, then embedded software, you have to understand the hardware, so electronics and electrical fundamentals. You have to have embedded software basics, operating system, and also cryptography. And then depending on your need, you add additional like cybersecurity, some special automotive things, and so on. But this would be if you are just plain embedded in some mechatronics development. There's still a lot of content which can be planned and learned usefully. And then we look at the inverter software. Inverters are used to control electrical machines, and you have inverters wherever you have electrical machines. So it's not just automotive, you have different areas, like in medical applications, for example, as well. So there you need as well the electronic and electrical fundamentals. You need to understand about the electrical machine and how to control it, to have like the vector control or whatever. Depending on the machine, you have different control, but you need to understand how to control the machine. And then, of course, for software, you always need operating system and real-time operating system. Then I would like to show you some highlights where we worked with global players to support their transformation processes. So it was clear projects with different steps. And what are transformation processes? Right now, there's a lot going on in automotive. You have autonomous driving and electromobility, also on the infrastructure side. And now with the war of Russia against Ukraine, especially the decentralized energy supply gets far higher meaning, and there are a lot of things which still need to be developed, and this transformation process means that you need a lot more electrical know-how. And of course you have smart city, you have medical applications, and you have interconnected production. So there's a lot of transformation going on in the industry, and this means higher requirements for personnel. And it means also that you sometimes need different personnel. Right now, the VDA, it's a German engineering organization, published that 11,000 electrical and electronics engineers are missing, and the tendency is rising. And also in other countries, this know-how is missing. So just hiring will not work. And this means that the companies really have to plan the transformation processes and enable, for example, the many mechanical engineers to go into more in this electrical engineering field. And looking at the transformation of the process itself, people work, engineers, I just put 44 years, maybe in the future it will be 50 years of working time, but someone who is like the average engineer right now, finished, graduated in 2000, and many things were completely different in 2000 if you look back, and also for the future lots of things will happen. And then we have different challenges, so it's like bringing new employees up to speed, then providing contemporary know-how, and then also to enable knowledge update. If you forgot something, yeah, after 40 years, maybe it's okay to forget some of the things you learned, yeah. And here I would like to look into bringing new employees up to speed. What did we do there? The first thing was to plan the personnel ramp-up, yeah? To make a ramp-up plan, to align it with HR and R&D, and to clearly define that what you need, yeah, because you don't get everything, yeah. Someone who knows everything doesn't work, so you have to clearly define what you need. Then an internal training plan was developed, yeah, with systematic onboarding, training within the organization. So it's like coming in, being you, knowing your work around, establishing a knowledge base where everybody can look it up, having a mentor, being trained on specific things. And this was added with e-learning portfolio from the Embedded Academy. And additionally, at a later state, on-site trainings were done, and these on-site trainings are usually like the most important things you need for embedded software development is requirements engineering, software architecture, and also certified tester. So this was one project, and this resulted in a successful ramp-up and integration of personnel to enable them to work efficiently. And it saved time at the experienced people, because if you're hiring, usually you are overloaded already, and this was time saving for the ones who already had more than enough to do. Yeah? The second part is the second project we did was to bring the employees up to speed on a contemporary know-how, what they need today. Yeah. And this was the transformation process from combustion engine to electrification. First step was to develop a concept with workshops and e-learning content structure, because with these big tier one, we did some of these e-learning together. So the concepts have been developed together, they use it internally, and we are allowed to sell it on the market. So we did these several workshops, structured, said, okay, this is in this course, this is in this course, and implemented it. And integrating e-learning units into your learning is like a cost-sensitive topic, and this, you can save quite a lot of costs. And this tier one integrated e-learnings into their LMS, learning management landscape, because there's the planning behind, also for competency management and so on. Yeah? And in addition to that, we designed specifically for this tier one e-learning units, which are only used by them, which are very special topics, and there we worked together and provided the e-learning. And this resulted in a successful transformation process from combustion engine to electrified powertrain development. And it's a huge challenge. So now we are going to the office of the Embedded Academy. In this case, I would like to hand over to the sales, to Francina, who will explain you everything there. Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. Very warm welcome to all of you. And for our live demo for this topic, best practices, how global players train their workforce. Thank you very much, Annette, for the exciting presentation so far and for these insights, specifically coming from the challenges of transformation processes. My name is Frank Siener, and I'm in charge of sales for the Eclipseina and have the focus on the Embedded Academy, what Annette already introduced a bit. And I take you through the how the Embedded Academy can help you as a company to manage transformation processes better, and with regards to the technical adjustments of the roadmaps which are necessary. The world is changing, and is your engineering team ready for it? This is basically the main question we try to answer with our solution. Today, you know, there are big transformation processes basically influencing strategies of all companies, transformation processes like energy transition, mobility transition, digitalization, and also even other impacts like Corona, which impact strategies of the companies. And that requires basically an adjustment of the technical roadmap. And even that will cause an impact to the job requirements of people in a company. Companies need to think of how can we adjust to these new challenges. And the only answer so far we see is that there is a significant increase of training needs for employees. And for that, we have worked out also a solution. What does Eclipseina and the Embedded Academy stand for? We have worked out 4 topics for us, and basically big companies already trust us as Embedded Academy and Eclipseina with our approach. This is fully in line with that what the big companies are facing on challenges, and our 4 points we have worked out are specifically made for this transformation processes for this companies who need to bring this change forward in an efficient way. Point number 1 is that we are working with our experience and our competence very closely together with the management team. HR and engineering management support is what we can offer, and we can define specific learning journeys as Annette already explained, as well as really personal development plans for the organization. In addition, we offer the classical seminars as they have been offered already for a longer period of time, since 2013. And this can be in-house trainings as well as presence trainings. And as these needs are really increasing to train your staff, there is also an increase of cost really to the companies, and the time is also becoming a problem that this is not always available for such intensive training needs. So that is why we have developed our e-learning portal with a high focus. And our objective was really to provide a real e-learning class, as already has been explained a bit earlier, with navigation, with animation, with quizzes, and so on. And that quizzes, courses are helping companies indeed to save the cost of the significantly increased training needs. So these e-learning classes can be get made accessible and save companies time, save companies the cost. And another advantage is actually they are significantly more flexible. So people can really use when the best time for them is available to go into these trainings and qualify themselves on the needs they have. So what is our current situation? Our portfolio has been made of 20 years management experience of the company, has been included in the engineering and training programs. We have meanwhile 42 trainings available, and they are focusing on specifically embedded systems, on software, on special charging trainings, but also with bigger focuses on e-mobility, electrification. So all these big trends which came up from these big transformation processes. So in facts and figures, you can see we have around 71 cutting-edge e-learning units available, and converting this into effective learning minutes, you would come up with 2,925 minutes. And if you convert this again into real studying and learning time, which is usually 5, 6, 7 times longer, then you're coming up to 14,625 minutes learning and studying time. If you convert this back into days and months, you would have effectively on an 8 hours day base around 30 days, really continuously learning and studying, or 6 weeks. Point number 4 is, of course, the services we offer together with these trainings. We can utilize our modules for learning management systems for companies. We can provide these as modules and make it accessible. We also offer videos, PowerPoints, manuals, and develop also training materials. Our e-learning platform, to make it accessible to everyone, and our focus is indeed we allow it to make accessible to individuals as well as to companies in any size. So for the individuals, we give the access through our web shop in our portal, accessible through our website. The same can even be done by companies who are maybe not as close to us and want to have an access through a third party. So we can offer it as group to the companies through our web shop. But many companies prefer to utilize it in their own management system. For that, we can really provide standardized modules on HTML5 or on the Scrum format, so that companies really have the opportunity to put it into their learning management system. And also, if necessary, we can adjust it to the corporate identity so that this can be made accessible as their own tool. Last but not least, for companies who don't have any learning management system yet in place, but definitely need one, we can also offer a server instance. This is usually a bigger task and a more costly solution. However, we can offer it, and if companies have those needs, please feel free to contact us. So here you can see our standard offer, usually in our web shop visible. And what one of our USPs is that you can really book the entire platform content over time. And that means for the ones who really need a quick learning process, they can book it over 10 days, you can book it over 10 weeks or 10 months. But also, of course, not everyone want to have this time frame, want to have a specific period of time. They can ask us, we can offer individual time, and we can provide an offer to that. What you can see here really is that this cost level compared to seminars is really becoming very attractive, especially over longer times, that this is really an alternative solution for replacing maybe seminars, or to a good tool to build a mix of seminars and learning content. For companies who really need to know about what is behind these classes or courses, you can really access, first of all, our portal. And on every course, you can see there behind that, you will see a really detailed description of what the courses are standing for. Secondly, you can have a trailer so that you have a quick summary on that. You can have certain insights. And so you can build your mind whether the one or the other course is really what you need. On the other hand, you can also come into contact with us and tell us what you need. And we are working on extending our portfolio. Annette will say a little bit more about this after my part here is done. And this is a very special offer to everyone because we have learned that there are often more questions to what we have answered so far in our platform. So therefore, please feel free to come back to us. Book a 30-minute introduction. We can guide you through to our entire portfolio, and you can express us your needs. We can help you to maybe build the right mix of trainings, and can show you what is possible to learn, and help you with matching the needs for your training of your employees. You can contact us through the sales email address. You will have a very quick response once you express a certain need to get more into these details, and we help you with understanding what our courses are standing for. And here another special offer for the people who really want to make a quick decision. On one hand, on the individuals, we have a little discount on our today's offer you see in the web shop. We are offering this for all the free packages, the 10 days, 10 weeks, 10 months. So you can take this coupon and have a little reduction. On the other hand, for companies, we also offer our 10 weeks program until the end of the year. This is an extended offer, so you have much more time to go through our learning content, which can be then digested a bit better if you have more time. So yeah, feel free to access this through our coupon codes. The description you find in here very clearly. Otherwise, give me a call or give me a ring to get more information about that. And now I'm basically through with my part. I would return to Annette to finish this presentation and show a bit more about the outlook, what efforts we are now still have in our roadmap. And yeah, I hand back to Annette.
Thank you. First of all, I would like to come back to the question, which I just read, is if it's possible to check all the e-learnings within 10 days, yeah? And how many hours is the whole content for the e-learnings. So I would say 10 days is a huge challenge to go through all the e-learnings, to have a substantial learning is what we heard before is 30 days. Yeah. So within 10 days, you will certainly have a problem to go through all of this. But usually you have your core topics, core areas which you want to learn. And for this, the 10 days might be sufficient. Yeah? So it's a challenge to get as much done as you want. And now another question popped up. Would you also come to an organization to work with the HR team to create specific learning journeys? Yes, we would do this. And for this, we bring in quite a lot of know-how, like ramping up new locations, organizing like future topics. So we certainly see this as one of our core competences, to work together with HR to find the best possible concept to train the organization, and this is done via learning journeys. How long does it take to create specific learning journeys? This depends on how much there is already. Yeah, it can be done within, I would say, normally within a few days. But the question is, you have to look at organizational management, look at how the organization is set up, how the competency management is done so far, how complex the organization is, what topic the people are working on, how diverse it is, what they are doing. And of course, one specific learning journey is one thing, but you need also to have an overall picture and define useful packages, because you cannot define one learning journey for every individual engineer, even though some companies are like this, that each engineer has a different job to do and different training needs. Thank you for the questions. I would now go also into our commitment. What are we doing? We're currently working on 2 levels. One topic is that we are improving the whole IT infrastructure because we have more people signing in, and this we want to be sure that it's sustainable for the future. This is one of the commitments, to say, okay, the whole platform infrastructure behind is always up to date. And then we are working on further content. Some of it we already released. This you see in green. So it was planned, and as we are already in September, some of the e-learnings have been released. The main areas we are working on is automotive. These are automotive topics. Automotive SPICE is an automotive standard, and we are also working on IT security, independently of automotive and also dedicated for automotive on both sides, and data security as well. So this is processes and security, if you put it together. And then we have AUTOSAR and embedded software. Currently, we just released a new version of embedded software basics, and there are communication protocols planned next. What we saw, even if you have it during your studies, control engineering, we see that there is a need to go into Laplace transformation and especially Z transformation, because many people didn't have this during studying, because this is control algorithms with a computer, where you have a certain time where you call the function and it's not continuous. And also filter functions and control theory will integrate this. because this is some of additional information we were requested with electromobility. On electromobility, electronics and electrical engineering, we also will continue working NVH, so it's noise, vibration and harshness overview. For electrical machines, an update is planned. The same is for electric fundamentals, that we enlarge it and make a further structuring and define additional content. And for charging, we have a challenge that there are new standards coming up, and of course we have to support these new upcoming standards. For measurement technology, we are currently working on a special course on strain gauges to measure this, but this includes also a lot of standard things you need to know, like you need to know certain mechanics, physical basics. You need some bridges, electrical bridges, to understand in which context you're measuring, maintain the strain gauges as they are, and the analysis, which usually is then a frequency analysis, and then you have connections to control engineering. And the last topic is we have a standard Z library it's a fixed point embedded C library called ECLib, and we are going to integrate this library into the learning landscape and work on the different topics there. So this is the commitment for the next year. But this doesn't mean it's all. So if you have a need, if you say, okay, we should do this and this and this, please let us know. We're happy about feedback, and we will for sure consider the feedback. So now I would be at the question and answers part. If there's any more questions we already had some in the timeline. Okay. Now we have a contact. In general, where do I find information? So contact is, we are located in Nittendorf, close to Regensburg. The Embedded Academy, if we have presence trainings, there we have a location in the heart of Regensburg, close to the cathedral. And we are informing on lots of social media. So for example, this stream will be uploaded at YouTube, not immediately. It takes some time because YouTube is taking the time, not us. And we are informing also on Twitter, on Facebook, LinkedIn, Xing. Also Xing will now remove the groups. We have some videos also on Vimeo, YouTube, I said, and we have an Instagram account. This information is varying depending on the target group. So Instagram is more for the younger people, and at LinkedIn is more for the established and the engineering managers to get informed. But it's worth to have a look. There's a lot of information. And also on YouTube, we have some videos for free where you can have a look how the things are done. Also the trailers to the e-learning you find on YouTube. So if we don't have more questions, Frank, I would say then we will thank everybody for joining.
Yes, thank you very much. Feel free to contact me at any time. If you have any further questions, feel free to and feel invited to utilize this 30 minutes to guide you through the e-learning portfolio we have. It's helps you to understand how much it matches to your needs. And I'm quite confident that we have in our portfolio the one or the other class which really matches to your needs.
And maybe one more word, I would be happy also to get some feedback. We did this live demo already in German, and we got some feedback from HR people, which was completely different to engineering. So we are planning to do additional live demos, one for the engineering where we go more into the technical things and show how the e-learnings look like. And for HR, we are happy to work more on the learning journeys, on the conceptual areas. Yeah. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you very much.